Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's webinar presented by the TEFL Academy. My name is Luan and I will be talking to you today about a really interesting TEFL topic. Before we get there though, I am from the beautiful South Africa, specifically Cape Town, and it would be really nice to know who's listening today, who's watching. So please, tell us who you are, write your name in the chat, and also tell us where you're listening from today. It's always so nice to say hi. So while I give you the house rules and tell you a little bit about today, do put your name and your location in the chat so that I can say hello to you. All right, so as mentioned, my name is Luan. I'm from the beautiful South Africa, and today's topic is so very, very important, specifically if you are doing the level 3 course, right? So the level 3 course, as you know, has got 2 assignments that you've got to do. And today we'll be talking very specifically about assignment B, right? And also remember that towards the end of the presentation, we will be having a Q&A where you can ask me all those important questions. So as you think of your questions, write them down or make a note, and later on when I open up Q&A, jot them down in the chat so that I can absolutely get to them. All right, so as mentioned, I'm a teacher. I have been a teacher for about 15 years now, and I've taught students from all over the world. I'm very excited to be part of your journey. So yeah, let's get started. Let's look and see if we've got any names that have come in. So we have Ross from Scotland. Welcome, Ross. It's nice to see you. We have visitors from Cape Town and also currently on Vancouver Island for a bit. Wow, amazing. And then we have those names coming in. So please write your name and your location so that we can say hi to you. So as mentioned a little bit earlier, today's webinar is about a very, very specific topic, right? It's the level 3 course, assignment B. And I need for you to understand that today's webinar is only going to be about that topic. So if you're doing the level 5 course, this assignment doesn't really apply to you. You might find bits and pieces of the assignment useful, but it is specifically aimed at people doing the level 3 course and looking at the assignments right now. All right, so let's get started. I see those names are still coming in from the US, from Malaysia, more from Canada, Romania, wow, Hungary, Seoul, San Francisco, amazing. Welcome. Please feel welcome today. All right, so as mentioned, level 3 assignment B. I will be giving you lots and lots of tips today. I'll be telling you a little bit about the format of the assignment. And of course, as mentioned, I'm going to answer questions later on. I am going to ask that you don't start typing your questions now already. The reason for this is that later on, when I do open up Q&A, I will have missed all the questions that may have come in a little bit earlier. So hold on to them for now, and when I open up Q&A, you'll see it displayed on the screen. That's when you send me your questions, and of course I'm going to get to as many of those as possible. All right, so let's get going, right? So why are we doing this webinar today, right? We're going to explore the following. We're going to look at what the level 3 assignment B assesses. We're going to look at the documents that you have to download when approaching the assignment. We're also going to look at the various steps that you have to follow in the assignment. And also, those include the lesson plan review, creating authentic activities, and also adapting a physical resource. So to some of you, this might sound like another language, while the others, you might have started with the assignment already. It doesn't matter where you are in that process. Today's webinar will help you. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at in today's webinar. All right. And as mentioned, this assignment, it's got its own aims, it's got its own objectives. And the reason we do this assignment, well, it assesses your ability to evaluate an existing lesson plan. So we're going to be giving you a lesson plan, and you have to tell us your thoughts on this lesson plan. We also assess in this assignment your ability to create authentic activities using authentic and freely available resources, and then also to evaluate the appropriateness and safety of a physical resource. So that's what the assignment assesses. And as you can see, it basically gives us an idea of how well you've engaged with the course material, how you understand the terminology, how you understand the lesson plan structure. It assesses quite a lot in quite a straightforward assignment, I'm going to say. But of course, if you're new to teaching, these concepts are new. So the assignment might also feel overwhelming at times, which is why today is so important. Right. So let's get moving on. So as mentioned, that's what the assignment assesses, your ability to evaluate an existing lesson plan and make improvements to create original and authentic activities, and then also to evaluate the appropriateness and safety of a physical resource. Right, so the first thing to do is on the assignment page, scroll to the bottom and look at the templates that you need to download for this assignment. The templates are always such a good place to start because those are the documents that you're going to be working with for the rest of the process, right? And the documents that you're going to download are as follows. It's the animal fact sheet, the countries of the world, which is an MP4 format, and also there's a main template. So the main template is, well, your main template, and the other two are your supporting files that help you put together the assignment. And those are the documents that you will be downloading. So remember that these documents are by default in MS Word format. You're to work on them in MS Word, and when you're ready to upload your assignment, of course, you're going to convert them to PDF format because our system will only accept PDF format, right? So you're going to be working on these documents, you're going to be exploring them, you're going to be filling them in with the most amazing information, all your creativity, and then you're going to upload them in PDF, as mentioned earlier. All right, so let's look at step one. So on your main template, there is a lesson plan already there, but it's not perfect, right? And your job here is to review this lesson plan. A good place to start is to read the case study. Now, the case study tells you who this lesson plan has been created for and what the aims are, right? It tells you a bit about the group, where they're from, maybe their age group. So it gives you really, really important information. And another important thing to remember is that when you are evaluating this lesson plan, think about the PPP format, right? So some of you will have already done the lesson plan unit. Some of you may have ventured into how to prepare a grammar lesson where you will have been introduced to the PPP format. If you haven't done so at this point, don't worry about it, you'll get there. Those of you who have already covered it and you're about to embark on the assignment, revisit that one. Look at those 3 stages, look at what they're there for, and what sort of activities are meant to be done within those stages before making your recommendations. Look at the model lesson given. We give you a model and we want you basically to identify shortcomings and make recommendations, right? And these, we even tell you where to put these, right? So at the end of each stage, there's a blank space and it's literally called the improvements section. And that's where you're going to write your improvements. You're going to identify what is not good or not suitable about a particular stage. And then you're going to tell us how you would improve that stage. So it's a really fantastic practice for you, not only for the assignment, because you're getting to know these stages and revisiting them, but also for future. If you're to maybe work with existing lesson plans and improve on these, this is fantastic practice, right? So the lesson plan review, just to revisit, read the case study, go and revisit the PPP lesson plan structure, look at the model lesson plan, and then identify the shortcomings, make recommendations, and these, remember, you're going to write in the improvement section at the end of each stage. Right. So a little bit more about the lesson plan review. You do not have to comment on, as you know, a lesson plan also includes things like aims and objectives, right? You do not have to comment on these at all. The aims, the objectives, the anticipated problems, these have all been included for you. You do not have to do a thing here. You only need to write improvements in the improvements section per stage. And the improvements we're looking for are approximately 2 improvements per stage. In other words, what is wrong here? What can be done? Something else that's not working, what can be done to improve it? All right. Okay, so remember something very important to bear in mind is that this is an online lesson plan. In other words, the lesson that you're looking at in the lesson plan is aimed at an online session, an online class. So it's important to consider, are the tasks suitable for an online lesson? Are the tasks sufficiently student focused, or is the lesson all about the teacher? Has the teacher remembered to elicit um, target language, to elicit form, and to concept check function from students rather than just telling them information? So this lesson, you really need to look at the details. What has been done, what is not suitable, and how would you improve on this, right? And also, when looking at a lesson plan like this, think about the various stages. And this is what I mentioned earlier. Go and revisit that PPP structure, right? Look at what is meant to happen at each of the respective stages. And then ask yourself, the tasks in the stages of the model lesson, are they really suitable for the stage of that particular, if you're looking at the controlled practice stage, for example, is what the teacher has prepared suitable for controlled practice, or can you suggest something better? Also, timing, right? Look at what kind of time is allocated for each stage. Look at the model lessons, look at typical PPP lesson plans, and work on the structure of about an hour. Look at the length of the warmer, look at the length of the presentation stage. What is recommended versus what is it that you see in this model lesson? How can you improve on timing? Is there enough information in the lesson plan so that if another teacher were to steal that lesson plan from you and want to do it with their class, is there enough information in that lesson plan to guide them? Because remember, as teachers, yes, we're always making new resources or creating new materials for ourselves, but we're also creating these materials for other teachers, and other teachers are always sharing their materials with us. So is the lesson plan clear enough that if another teacher were to pick it up and to do it with their class, would they be able to visualize each task, or is more information necessary in order for another teacher to follow it? So that there is the lesson plan review. And as you can see, you've got to use that engagement with the course material, and you've got to really put your knowledge to the test. You've got to look at that lesson plan. Is there enough information? And the information that is there, is it really relatable for the group of children or students that the lesson plan is aimed at? So remember, your job is to identify what's wrong and to suggest improvements. That's it. At the bottom of each stage, in the blank areas provided, 2 improvements per stage. That's it. All right. And then the next step of the assignment, and I think this is probably my favorite because I think it gives the teacher that scope and that freedom to express and to, include a bit of creativity. The first step is all about identifying what's wrong and making it right. Whereas this is adding your own flair, your own flavor, right? So step 2 is all about creating original online activities. So as mentioned, also for an online setting, right? And here, the very first thing that you need to do is open the activities template so that you can see what you're working with, right? And then we're going to be looking at activity 1 first, right? Now, activity 1 is, we've given you the text that you're meant to work with. This text is based on a very particular topic. The theme is nature. And your job here is to create a reading comprehension task based on this nature text, right? And the amount of questions, the number of questions that we're looking for are 6 to 8 comprehension questions. But I need for you to look at the age of the students. It's on the screen right now. And I need for you to look at the level, right? So the age, we're looking at 10 to 12 years old, and we're looking at A2 level. Now, even though the group is the same as the group in step 1, these two activities have no connection to that lesson plan in step 1. These are two entirely different sections. But still, look at the age, look at the level before you start creating those comprehension questions. The comprehension questions you create, are they simple enough for these students to understand? Remember, they can't answer the question if they don't understand the question. Also, are your materials child-friendly? Is there color? Are there images that they can relate to? So think about all those things when creating your activity. Something important to remember is that we need you to fill in the lesson plan section so that we can visualize this task, but also we need your materials. So if you're creating your 6 to 8 questions in a nice worksheet with pictures and some color, we need that actual worksheet copied and pasted into your materials file, right? We need it pasted there because we need to be able to see exactly what it is you're going to give to your students. So no links, no little icons that we've got to click on to open something, just copy and paste it as is. If you've created something like using an online resource like Kahoot or something like this, no problem, but then cut a screenshot of your actual quiz and put it into the materials section, because again, we need to see it and not have to follow any links or open up any resources like a website in order to access your materials. They need to be there in plain sight. Also remember, you must create the task yourself. This cannot be taken from another existing resource. It must be created by you. If you find inspiration on another site, that's fantastic. But you write your own comprehension questions. You create your own task. It must not be taken from another resource. If we find that it has been taken from another resource, you will be asked to resubmit, because it's all about creating your own activities. That is the core of the assignment. So that was activity 1, the nature-based text, which we provide. You have to create 6 to 8 comprehension questions for this young group of children, aged 10 to 12. And remember, they're at A2 level, so relatively low on the CEFR scale. So be careful with the terminology and wording and even grammar that you use in your questions. They need to be simple enough for these students to understand. Right, so that is activity 1. So activity 2 is just as fun. Activity 2 is where same group, children or students aged 10 to 12, still A2 level, but now they're going to be watching a video, countries of the world, right? And as teachers, we very often use videos to prompt conversation. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. But remember, we can't just tell a group of children or students talk about the topic. That's not enough. We need to create opportunities for them to speak. So what we need here is for you to create an online discussion activity based on this video, Countries of the World. And we need you to include 6 to 8 speaking prompts, whether they be discussion questions, whether they are flashcards, with a little question and a few keywords. Maybe it's imagery and a few keywords, whatever you feel you'd like to do here, but we need you to include 6 to 8 speaking prompts. Even advanced students need prompts in order to speak. Think about us, right? We speak English fluently. And yet, if we're in a situation where someone tells us, speak about the topic, still, even with all this confidence in English, you don't know where to start, right? And our students feel very much the same. And what we're looking for here is that support that you would give them in order to nudge and to prompt conversation. Right. So, activity 2, all about travel, countries of the world. You need to create an online discussion activity based on the video, 6 to 8 speaking prompts. Again, though, the materials you submit, we need the actual activity, the worksheet, or a screenshot of the worksheet included in your materials section of the main template, right? So if you've created flashcards, create them in whatever, using whatever program, whether it be PowerPoint, whether it be Kahoot, whether it be Canva, whatever it is. If it's something online like that, you would need to take screenshots and paste them in the material section. If it's a worksheet with little discussion questions you've created, again, put it in the material section. Your tutor should not have to click on links to open up these materials. Open special icons, follow any online prompts. It needs to be there in plain sight, right? So remember, not to send links, you must include the materials. And again, please remember, you must create the task yourself. It must not be taken from another resource. If you found really nice questions on travel, that's a great idea, but write your own. If you found flashcards online about travel, again, fantastic idea. Reference the site as one of the sites you use to help you create the activity, but create those flashcards yourself. That, again, as mentioned earlier, is the core of this assignment, the ability to create activities that are your own with an existing piece of material. In other words, the video. All right, so that is the 2 activities in step 2. Fun, right? All right, so the third one, step 3, is all about adapting a physical resource for use in the classroom. So here what you've got to do is read the class description first. This gives you a lot of information that you're going to use when you are making suggestions to improve this resource. Read the description of the class, then read the description of the existing game. And your job here is to adapt this game and the physical props to make sure that this game is now safe for the group of kids or students that you've been assigned, right? So read the class description. There are some really important bits and pieces, and then read the game. Ask yourself a few questions. Would you allow them to play this game as it is, or would you have to change a few things to make it safer, to make it more appropriate? And that is what this final step is all about. So this gets sent to us in the form of like an essay, and you need to use the headings on the template as a guide. The essay must be written in the first person. In other words, I would do this. This is what I would change. I recommend. So it's you. You're telling us what you would do. And also, it must be written as continuous text and not as bullet points. We don't want bullet points. We want a cohesive piece of text as to what you would do to improve this resource. So your writing should be about 300 words plus or minus, but also we have a 10% leeway, which means you can be 10% under or 10% over. So we give you that flexibility. Don't panic. All right. So yeah, just follow the prompts. Read the class description, read the game description, see how you feel as a teacher, allowing them to enjoy this game as is. What would you need to change to make it safer? And then write your thoughts in a cohesive essay style piece of text, not bullet points, approximately 300 words. That is step 3. All right. So something important to remember is that Before you submit your work is, of course, going to be scanned by our Copy Leaks program, and that is to ensure that there's been no use of AI or plagiarism. And the acceptable score is up to 30%. If it exceeds the score, do not submit. If, however, you're picking up that your assignment has been scanned incorrectly, or something that you didn't put in is getting scanned as plagiarism, please contact tutor support and we will have a look to see whether there have been any issues with the scanning of your assignment. And also for any other questions, really, if you have problems understanding instructions on the assignment, if you've had issues with maybe feedback once you've submitted and you've been asked to resubmit and you've got questions, ask on tutor support. We are happy to assist you. We cannot preview assignment work, right? So you can't send us a file and say, is this okay before I submit it? Or this is my idea for an activity. You type out the whole activity and you ask us, is this okay? We cannot approve assignment work on tutor support, and that's because of our 3-attempt policy. You get 3 attempts in total, and of course, if we are going to be previewing work on tutor support, it is unfair to our other course participants. So you may ask questions, but we are not permitted to preview your assignment files or assignment work. And also remember that it is more than okay to have to resubmit. Resubmit is not failing. It's just that you maybe forgot something or you just misunderstood an instruction and we need for you to revisit that section of the course. Or maybe, you just sent through an incorrect version of something, or your imagery is not very visible, and we need you just to clarify a couple of things. So always remember that having to resubmit is not a bad thing. It very often just gives you that extra bit of revision that you need before we let you move on. And then also, just a few extra tips that are not currently on the slide. Remember to read the checklist before you submit. Also, please use our templates only and use them as they come. Don't change them. Don't take away the logos. Don't change the coloring. Just type your work in the allocated blank spaces and you'll be fine. Also remember, just a tip that comes from earlier, you will remember this, create your own tasks. Don't use anything directly from another website. If you have found inspiration for a task on a website, no problem, reference that website in the bibliography section, but of course, change it, make it your own. And then also an idea is to research what authentic entails. And that is whether it be authentic material in the classroom or authentic activities that you create, just research what authentic material entails altogether, because it really does steer you in the right direction when compiling those tasks in step 2. And then use the naming convention as it is. You can add your name and surname to your file. That's absolutely fine. And then also remember that if we do send you the opportunity to resubmit, you've got to go to your home page, click on that icon on the right-hand corner, select grades, and on the next page of the course, scroll down past the test results, and your feedback is at the bottom of the page. All this information is on our site, how to find your feedback, how to check what the tutor has asked you to revise or to change. But if you forget, of course, you can contact tutor support and we will set you on the right track immediately. All right. So then also remember, just another reminder, as specified in our terms, we do not preview assignment work, but you're welcome to ask us as many questions as you need in order to help you feel more confident before you submit your assignment. All right. So that is the end of me presenting to you. So just to go over things very quickly, step 1 of the assignment is to review a lesson plan. You've got to look at the various stages of the lesson and you've got to write what's wrong with that stage, and how you would improve it at the bottom of each respective stage. That's step 1. Step 2 is creating authentic tasks. We give you the material. The activity 1 is a nature-themed text. You have to create a comprehension test. You've got to fill this information in on what looks like a lesson plan, and then also submit the materials. And then we've got the second activity in step 2 is where you've got to create a speaking activity around a travel themed video. And you've got to create 6 to 8 speaking prompts, 6 to 8 gestures that give your students that go ahead to start speaking. And remember, once again, your materials have got to be included in full. I'm going to repeat this. Your tutor should not have to open up sites or click on links to see your materials. They should be copy pasted right there in the materials section of the main template. Step 3 is evaluating a resource to make sure that it's safe. Basically a game. We tell you about the group of children or the group of students, and you've got to write your thoughts on how you would make this game more appropriate, more suitable, and safer for the group of children or students that you've been assigned. All right, so that's the assignment. That's me presenting to you. So now the opportunity is all yours to write those questions that you may have in the chat. I'm going to get to as many questions as I possibly can today. Do remember, though, I'm going to be answering questions that are only related to today's webinar. All right, so please type your questions right now, whether it be questions about the instructions. Maybe there's an instruction in the assignment you don't understand. Maybe there was something in today's webinar that I spoke about that you're not sure about, that you don't understand, that you'd like me to re-explain or revisit. I can absolutely do that, but I'm going to need you to type your questions right down in the chat function so that I can get to them. Also remember, while I wait for those questions to come in, that today's webinar will be available to rewatch in a few days. We record them, we then make them available to you, and you're more than welcome to watch and rewatch as many times as you need to. Not only today's webinar, but also webinars from previous weeks will be available. Remember, though, that today's webinar on this particular assignment is the updated format with just the 2 templates that you have got to submit. So yeah, if you're watching today's webinar and you're about to embark on that second assignment of the Level 3 course, you're on the right track. All right, so please send through those questions. If we don't have any questions, that tells me you're ready for this assignment. However, if you do have any questions, I'd like to see them in the chat. Darren, not a question, but a statement. Thank you very much. A very good presentation. Well, you're very welcome. If you have any questions, Darren, or if you're not sure about something, please, please, please send them to me. And you're welcome. All right, so Karen wants to know in step 3 in the running dictation activity. Look at you, Karen, giving away steps of the assignment already, but it's absolutely fine. No need for us to produce material. In other words, a short paragraph for sticking onto the classroom wall. That is such a good question because I do feel maybe that's something that we could clarify is no, you do not need to submit material for this. We only want you to look at the structure of the game, to look at the props you'd be using, and how you could improve to make the game safer, Karen. So you do not need to submit or produce any material for step 3's running dictation game. All right. All right, so Ashley, assignment 1 says not to focus on technical issues. Ashley, today's webinar is about assignment B. So for assignment A, I suggest you either join for that webinar or ask us on tutor support. But I'm going to be sticking, if you don't mind, to questions about assignment B so that we do not confuse anyone else who might be listening. All right. But please, Ashley, contact me on tutor support and I will absolutely help you out with that one. All right. How long does it take to receive results and feedback after submitting an assignment? And how can I check the feedback and results taking level 5? And submitted assignment on the 9th of Feb. All right, so as it states on our site, Mabia, thank you for your question. Assignments are marked within 5 working days. So that's Monday to Friday, your working days, right? So 5 working days from the day you submitted, the day after, that's when you are likely to get your assignment back. However, very often when things are not too busy, we often get it done before that time frame. But the max, yes, it's 5 working days. All right. And also remember for resubmitted assignments, if you resubmit, then your assignment will take about 2 days to get marked. A brand new assignment, 5 working days, a resubmitted assignment, 2 days. All right, and checking the feedback, right? So you are usually notified via email when there is feedback for you to check. And then, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's a bit of a process, but the process is on our site, how to get your feedback. You go to your home page, maybe write this down or rewatch this webinar so you can just take down the steps. You go to your home page, you click on the icon on the top right-hand corner, you select grades. On the next page, click on your course. You scroll down past the test results, and your feedback will be at the bottom of the page. And the reason I'm answering this question today is because this is sort of a general assignment question or submissions question. Something important to remember is that a tutor, like myself or the other markers, they will never ask you to resubmit without telling you why. We will always tell you why. If there's something wrong with the assignment, we will identify the problem. We will give suggestions. We will offer suggestions on how to fix it. So we're not just going to say you have to resubmit and leave it up to you to guess what the problem is. Absolutely not. There will be very detailed feedback as to why you need to resubmit. All right. So Mabia, follow those steps that I just gave you. If you forget them, because I forget things all the time, if you forget them, just go onto our site. They're right there. And if you can't find them on our site, send us a ticket onto user support, and we will literally send you those steps so that you can find your feedback each and every single time. All right. Right. Okay. Like this question, how much time is generally acceptable for creating prompts and assignments? So for creating these prompts and assignments, because the course is self-study, self-paced, how long you take to create these assignments and to do these activities, that is up to you. Some people take a couple of days to put the assignment together. Some people take a week. It depends on your personal commitments and what else you've got happening in your life. Some people have full-time jobs, or some people have families at home that they take care of, and then it might take a little bit longer. So it just depends. But if you have a look, Jessie, on our in that very first unit 0/getting started unit, just open up the menu on the right-hand side. It actually gives you a course breakdown and tells you how long each facet of the course should take. It might even offer some guidance on the assignments. But again, this differs from one person to the next. All right. Okay, so Ashley, I think then you've clarified your question. I mean, assignment B, great, the one we're talking about today. But activity 1, we're looking for improvements on the lesson plan, right? So, okay, right. So what we mean here is that you're not to get too technical about, the platform and all those technical issues. You're more to look at the lesson. As the technical stuff, the furthest you need to go, or the most detailed you need to go with the technical aspect is, is the activity suitable for an online lesson? Any more than that, you don't need to give any more technical insight. It's more about the stage of the lesson and the activity that the existing lesson plan includes. Is it suitable? If not, what would you do? If it's suitable, well, then you don't make a recommendation there. But what we mean is, you don't need to get too technical when making improvements. It's more about the lesson, the activity. Is it suitable for that stage? Is it suitable for the age of children? Is it suitable for an online setting? That's what we're looking for. Not too much technical stuff, because of course that could just carry on forever and ever. All right, I hope that clarifies it for you. All right. Okay, so here's a question from Julie. So Julie says, so it's fine if we take ideas from other websites, but we can do with our own words. You know, Julie, that's the thing though. Those websites are there to assist and give ideas and to help. So say, for example, I see a nice flashcard activity where the teacher gives students flashcards, maybe with a picture and a few keywords to get them started. And I'm like, oh, I like that idea, right? Fantastic. But then create your own flashcards. Put your own prompts there. Find and source your own pictures to put on there. Write your own little questions on. So you're using the fundamentals, using the basis of the activity, if that makes sense, for guidance, for a little bit of inspiration. But yes, the creation of it, the wording, the imagery you use, the prompts that you're giving your students, the direction you want their conversations to go, that's all your creation. All right. I hope that clarifies it, because, we can't say to you, well, you can't use ideas from other sites, because, I mean, we're trying to encourage you to do research and to find ideas and so on. But yes, you need to make these ideas your own. All right. Okay, so we have a question from Bax, and Bax wants to know, how would I know the limits in language for level A2 students, right? So Bax, this one is a little difficult because, you would have had to get to know the CEFR levels. I'm just typing that into the chat quickly, CEFR, and what that stands for is the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. Okay, so that tells us whether our students are beginner or elementary, which is A1, whether they are pre-intermediate, which is A2, whether they are lower intermediate, B1, upper intermediate, B2, advanced, C1, and proficiency level, C2. So those are the different levels, right? But very often, when you are working at a school, they will tell you you're working with an A2 class and this is what they already know. We give you that sort of guidance in the instructions. We tell you a little bit about their capabilities and we tell you a little bit about what they know. But something that you need to maybe start using, and this is something I use every single day to help me to grade my language for speakers of different levels, and that is a vocabulary profiler. So one that we tend to tell our students about a lot is something called Vocab Kitchen. So it's vocabkitchen.com/profile. And basically, you can type the words you want to use with your class. You click on CEFR and it tells you what level those words are. So basically, you will see whether it's too high for your A2 class or whether it's at or below their level. And obviously, if you are at or below their level with the questions, you're spot on. If you're going a little bit too high, you might have your students not understanding the prompts or not understanding the questions that you're creating. So remember that one, Bax. It's the vocabulary profiler. The name of this vocabulary profiler is vocabkitchen.com/profile. Fantastic tool to use. I use it literally every single day. All right. And also remember that we use this not only for materials that we create for our students, but we also use it with planning the language we're going to use when we speak to them. So when we elicit, when we concept check, when we create a dialogue in the class, is the language we're using suitable for the level of our students? And very often when I'm planning lessons, I actually use the vocabulary profiler just to check that the dialogue I'm planning in my head is actually suitable for the level of my class. I hope that helps. All right, so please, I need more questions. Write the questions in the chat function, and I will get to as many of them as possible. So Chantal has just let us know that she's coming in late. I just finished the classroom training. Welcome, Chantal. I hope you enjoyed the classroom training and you're doing the level 5. Still welcome. You can absolutely enjoy this webinar with us, but do remember that today's webinar specifically relates to a level 3 course assignment, and that is specifically assignment B. All right, any other questions? I'm just scrolling through our bits from earlier to make sure that I haven't missed anything. So please include those questions. Or again, I'm going to assume that you feel confident enough to start this assignment, and Bax, you're welcome. All right. I haven't missed any questions, so if you have any, let me know. Also something to link in with Mabia. Mabia, you asked a question about submitting your assignment. You submitted on the 9th of Feb. Just something that we need to remind students of. So let's just see. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you should be getting your assignment back very soon. But something important to remember is that if you are waiting for far longer than the 5 days, but remember, it's 5 working days. If you've been waiting for 7 or 8 working days, please contact us, because very often what happens is that you upload your assignment, but you don't scroll down and click on save. And if you don't do that, your assignment remains in draft, which means you can still access your assignment and edit your assignment, but we cannot access it to mark. We cannot mark a draft because you can still edit, if you know what I mean. So something important to remember is that if you're waiting for longer than 5 working days, please check on the status of your assignment. Just go and make sure that after you upload it, that you actually click on save, as this puts your assignment in the marking queue. If you do not do this, that assignment is going to lay in draft, time is going to pass by, and we will not receive your assignment on our side. Something really important to remember. Okay, right, so I have another question from Dean. Hi, Dean. So Dean wants to know, great presentation, thank you. You're very welcome. We do this only for you. But how many assignments will we have in the level 3 course? So Dean, you will have 2 assignments in total. So do look out for the webinar relating to assignment A. So we have assignment A and we have assignment B in the level 3 course. Assignment A is very much a grammar-based assignment where you are actually creating a lesson plan. And assignment B, as you've heard today, is all going to be down to reviewing the assignment and creating materials. So that's the difference. 2 assignments in the whole course. All right. And then Julie, great follow-up question. It's not going to, I see that you corrected your statement there, so it's not going to look like plagiarism then, absolutely not, right? So you will be able to submit it. If, however, our program picks it up as plagiarism, then maybe you have used something that is a little bit too close to that original source out there, right? And then okay, I need to rework this file. I need to change a few more things. I need to make this more of my own. I need to put my own flair in there. So it will notify you. You'll be able to see whether it's picked up as plagiarism or not. However, we are well aware that you're researching, you're getting ideas from out there. I mean, where else are you supposed to get them from? So you can absolutely use the ideas as inspiration, but if you're creating those materials, yes, do make them your own. It will not be picked up as plagiarism unless you use the actual wording and the ideas too closely to the resources you found online. All right. All right, I have a question that starts with not quite related. Thank you, Karen. So not quite related, but after completion of this course, will we still have access to the course material for future reference? Right, so Karen, when your 6 months. When your 6-month period runs out, that's when you lose access to the course. Of course, our course is online, it's our product. So once you lose access to it, unfortunately, that's it. So what we always tell our students is copy and paste, cut bits, create a file, write down juicy bits that you know you're going to use in the future, and make your own TEFL Academy file. But will you have access to the materials after your 6 months? Unfortunately not. All right. And then Mabia has a question. It's now been more than 5 working days. Mabia, let's check on that. So send us a ticket. Just say, hi, can you please check on my assignment? And then we will check what's happening. We'll check whether that assignment is perhaps still in draft or whether there's just some reason why there's been some kind of delay. Don't panic about it at all. Send us a ticket with your name and your surname as you registered on the course, because whoever is on duty on tutor support will literally use your first name and your surname to find your assignment. Something important to remember. So the name as you registered, the tutor on duty will go and have a look. And if it's a matter of your assignment that it's in draft and hasn't been fully submitted, we will let you know immediately, because you will have to activate that submission from your side. If, however, it's a problem on our side, a delay, your tutor maybe didn't see the assignment, we will then chase them up. We'll send them an email and say to them, right, this assignment is, it's due. Please, can you mark it as soon as possible? So we will sort you out. All right, so please send a ticket, tutor support, and we will look into why your assignment has not yet been marked. All right. And just like Mabia has done, if you see that your assignment has been laying there for a little bit too long, yes, please send us a ticket so we can check and look into it. All right. Okay, so any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. So if you want your questions answered, put them in right now. Just also going through some of them to see if I haven't missed anything. Right. All right. So yeah, I'm going to leave that open for another couple of minutes or so, just while we wrap up the webinar. But yes, please, if you do have any other questions, quickly punch them in so that we can absolutely get to them. Also remember, as mentioned earlier, this webinar is available to watch and rewatch as many times as you need to. This particular one will be available in a few days. It'll be on our channel. If you cannot find our YouTube channel, just send us a ticket. We'll send you the link, which will not only take you to this webinar, but all the other relevant webinars that we've done in the past. So you'll be able to find loads of other information. Also, other bits and pieces of the course that you might find difficult, teaching jobs, online teaching, that sort of thing. It's all there. How to look for scams, AI, all that sort of thing. Absolutely go and have a look at those webinars. And speaking of AI, also remember your work has got to be your own, and no AI is permitted when creating our assignments. All right, so it looks as though we've come to the end. No other questions have been sent. That's fine. Remember that if you do think of something at a later stage, later on today, tomorrow, ask us on Tutor Support and we will be more than happy to answer your questions. All right, so that's it then. That's just another reminder that you can watch all our webinars again on our YouTube channel. And also, yes, you can watch the old ones, and this one will be available in a few days' time. All right, something else that we do need you to do before you go, and some of you have already filled it in, that's fine, do it again, is to fill in our survey so that we know how we're doing on the webinar front. We need to know that we're making you happy. So just what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the survey link in the chat right now, but in a moment or so, I'm also going to display it on the screen. Please fill this in and tell us how you feel. It'll also give us some direction on what your interests are and what sort of webinars you'd like to see more of in the future. All right, so that is the end of me presenting to you. I really want to say thank you very, very much for joining today. And remember that next week, same time, same place, please keep joining these webinars. They're loaded with good information, and you can ask your questions right then and there on the spot. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time.